Hello, welcome back to The Upshot. I'm Jack Rivlin and I'm wearing an iron shirt today. I'm joined, as always, by Zach Sweeney-Lynch.
Hello, I'm not wearing an iron shirt, I'm afraid.
Could have made the
I
bloody
did shower.
effort. Oh, you did shower?
I did shower today.
More than I managed.
Yeah.
We'll get there. One day we'll both do it. Today we are talking Joey Barton falling off the anger management wagon, Mike Ashley is naked again, and Wrexham finally get a taste of what lower league football's really about. Zach, do you want to kick us off with Joey Barton?
Yeah, so Joey Barton, famed psychopath. You may remember him from, he was the guy who stubbed a cigar out in a teammate's eye while he was at Man City. And he's now managing Bristol Rovers. And it started off there in typically hot-headed fashion. He's always sort of doing his like snarling manager on the touchline thing. But last season, Joey wheeled his tactics board into the Bristol Rovers dressing room, and there were a few sort of hopeful whispers that perhaps their terrifying manager might have got a bit soft. So on the board there were, it started out with some tactical innovations. It was like goal mouth action, none in ours, loads in theirs.
Searing inside.
Yeah. It's a good start.
Loads in
but alongside that, there were some cheerful slogans that Joey had written to his players. So he said, "You're unique, a one-off, and a true superstar." So clearly, Joey had been along to some kind of anger management courses.
Yeah. And picked up some like slogans.
Yeah, they're sort of like primary school teacher.
Yeah, like pencil cases that little girls have in primary school, and they say like, "You're a superstar."
A true one-off. But anyway, it seems unfortunately that the effects of Joey's anger management courses have worn off, because this week they played against Peterborough and they lost 2-0. And in Joey's post-match interview, he absolutely ripped into midfielder Luke Thomas, who's been one of Bristol Rovers' best players this season. And he had apparently not been pressing. I think he was injured, and he should have come off, and he didn't. He tried to play on and hadn't pressed properly, and Peterborough scored. And in the post-match interview, Joey came out and said, "One idiotic young boy, I can't even call him a man, has compromised the team with his behavioural standards. Unless we man up and absolutely eradicate these weak, feeble-minded individuals that are currently inside our unit, we won't get promoted out of this division."
God, that's terrifying talk.
It sounds like he's planning like a genocide.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a bit of 30s fascism. Eradicate the weak and feeble-minded, polluting the gene pool.
Yeah, Joey Goebbels.
Is that Luke Thomas just out of favour for good now, or is that just like a normal, and then the next day he bumps into him in training and he's like, "Oh, all right, Luke."
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's pretty terrifying to have your manager come out and say that. But
would you rather get screamed at in the dressing room or humiliated in public like that in more sort of like acid-tongued fashion?
I don't know. Neither of them.
You probably got both.
Well, probably, yeah.
And then a cigar in the eye for good measure.
Yeah. I hope they're keeping the Joey's post-match cigars locked in a drawer.
Hard to think of a manager I'd less like to play for, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've always thought Louis van Gaal's a weirdo. Fabio Capello up there for just like sheer unrelenting joylessness. Whereas Joey Barton, I reckon you can have a bit of fun on the training ground.
Yeah,
but it'd be
there is a constant fear that you might be brutally assaulted.
Yeah, isn't there a story actually, I swear, from one of his previous clubs where he like, it was all like fun and games, and then someone like made a joke at him and he just turned. Like it can quit. Yeah, he like banished a player from the dressing room for just like making an extremely tame joke about Barton.
Oh, okay.
But like, you know what I mean? You can be joking with him 1 minute, and the next minute you've got a cigar in your eye.
Yeah. He's a psychopath.
All right, well, keep up the anger management classes, please, Joey, because you are one of a kind, a true superstar. That tactic board's amazing. All right, Newcastle have had a famous week, beating PSG 4-1 on Wednesday night. So I don't want to ruin their week too much by bringing up Mike Ashley, but he is the subject of our podcast this week, which has debuted with record numbers. Our pod is now doing 70,000 listeners a month. And the pod we've talked about is boozing a lot. There's the tales of when he challenged a banker to a drinking contest during a meeting and ended up puking in a fireplace. And they played a game where like no one's allowed to stop drinking until you can't go to the loo or be sick and you lose and you just have to keep drinking.
Yeah, didn't he like lock the door of the room and was like, "You're not leaving until we've had 12 pints and tequila slammers," and then
the guy puked. Well, Ashley puked in a fireplace. I think
Yeah.
the guy might have wet himself, something like that. That might be embellishment. Don't check that. And there's also the story that he like calls City bankers into his office for a meeting, like really serious ones, and they'd find Ashley napping under the boardroom table. And when they asked him to get up, he'd be like, "No, go away. I'm not coming out till you get the pints in." So like, he likes a drink. Anyway, we told these stories on the pod, and we've had a letter from a reader who worked in hospitality at Newcastle, and he says, Mike Ashley would frequently power drink in the director's box. Mike and his guests/friends had an activity they liked to do regularly called the Beer River. Ashley would line up his boys in a couple of lines, and they'd be armed with some pints. They would then slosh their pints onto the floor in the same direction in quick succession, forming an effectively flowing beer river. So like a sort of like tidal puddle, like a wave. Mike would then strip completely naked, run from one side of the hospitality box and slide/swim down the river.
wow.
Love it.
How much are they spending on beer there?
A lot.
Pint will set you back these days.
Yeah, he probably gets trade prices, does he?
Maybe,
Yeah. Probably not. There was another streaking story I think we talked about it in the pod, which is that he early on in owning Newcastle, he had a bet with Derek Lambias, who is the managing director of the club, who he'd met in a casino, and one of them bet that Amiobi would score X number of goals for Newcastle that season, and Shola Amiobi scored a hat trick, beat the record straight away, and the loser had to streak across the St James's Park pitch. While they thought it was empty, but it turns out loads of staff were there, like horrified.
So they were both betting against their player scoring.
One was against and one was with.
Okay.
But never bet against the Mackham Slayer, Shola Amiobi. So he likes to get naked. There's also those pics of him.
Yeah, stripping at a staff party.
Whipping himself with a belt.
Yeah.
Reckless owner.
Yeah, talking of, not reckless owners.
Wrexham.
Wrexham
owners.
Talking of Wrexham owners. I'm sure you would have seen Welcome to Wrexham, this Disney Plus show that documents Hollywood actors Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney and their takeover of Wrexham, this local club in a Welsh mining town. And this has been a huge hit, particularly in the US. I don't know if you saw this picture this week of a woman bursting into tears after being given tickets for Wrexham against Stockport, which I think she's possibly the first person in history to burst into tears at that.
Certainly tears of joy.
Yeah, well, there were some real tears at the end because they lost that match 5-0.
Was she there?
I think so,
So
yeah.
she's flown from like, Jackson Hole, Wyoming?
Kentucky, all the way to
Des Moines, Iowa. Yeah, it's a long flight home.
But anyway, so the Wrexham owners are really used to people being swept up in this romantic story of this Welsh club's rise. So when they fired off a message to the Notts County Supporters Club asking if they'd like to be featured in the documentary, they were expecting that they'd be over the moon. They'd be honoured to get a little bit of A-list stardust sprinkled on their club. And you can imagine they were probably... they're expecting a yes, and they're probably prepping their signed Deadpool caps and Wrexham foam fingers in a little goodie bag for them after filming. When the reply popped up and it said, "No, shove your shite dock up your ass."
Because Notts County were their like title rivals last year.
Didn't
Notts County finish top in the National League? Or what
I think Notts County.
And Wrexham came second, so they're their rivals.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Because obviously you'd expect anyone to bite your hand off to meet like stars of Marvel
Reynolds,
films.
Yeah.
I mean, I find both the Wrexham owners quite annoying.
Yeah.
Happy for Wrexham. It's a
Yeah.
proud club, and it's great. I have no beef with that, but I find the Hollywood owner thing just a bit fucking...
It's nice to see them getting a touch of reality with this.
I think in fairness to them, I think they probably found it quite funny, but
Yeah.
Welcome to the real lower
Welcome
leagues.
to Notts, yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. Right, we got a couple of clips, haven't we? What have we got?
Yeah. So this is a clip from the French league, so FC Nonce.
How are you pronouncing that? I think it's Nantes, because otherwise you do Nonce FC.
No nonces associated.
They're out on remand. Nonce FC. No nonsense in the club, right? Yeah.
Not as far as I know.
Sorry, I'm dwelling on the nonsense.
So before a match, they had a match last week against Rennes, and the two mascots got into a fight, it seems like, on the pitch. I don't know if this was staged or what, but the Rennes mascot properly cleaned out the Nantes mascot.
Clean that nonce right out. Had it coming, really.
And his mask, his head fell off.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting stretchered off. Yeah. So
apparently,
hopefully he's all right.
I read that in the mascot world, having your head off is like the ultimate shame. It's like really not the done thing, because obviously you're supposed to be in character and they take it really seriously. Yeah. So, because I initially thought, how's he got his hat back on for the stretcher? But apparently he would have insisted, even if he's got like punctured lung. It's like a massive point of honour. Yeah. Sort of like, I'm thinking sort of like Japanese samurai code of honour vibe.
Just having it head on in the casket.
Yeah. It's what he would have wanted. Yeah, although he is a nonce. So, one more clip. Just couldn't resist. One more clip for us. Mark Polmans is a sort of middling tennis player on the tour. I think he's ranked 194 in the world. But he was finally hitting a run of form in Shanghai and looked like he was going to qualify for the main tournament. He was on match point. All he had to do was finish off his opponent. Unfortunately, he volleyed the ball into the net, which is, no matter. You go again. But Polmans, in frustration, lashed out at the ball and smashed it into the crowd. And unfortunately, it flew straight into the horrified mush of umpire Ben Anderson, who disqualified him for it, which I think is a bit of a sense of humour failure.
I mean, it did hit him straight in the face.
Yeah, but surely intention, not consequences. If that had gone into the crowd and someone had caught it, is he getting disqualified?
I thought they do get.
I think you get docked a point, which to be fair would have been match point because it's a tie break. Anyway, he lost. He's out, which is unfortunate for Mark, but good content for us.
Yeah.
So thank you. All right, is that what we got time for?
I think so.
I think it bloody is. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Please check out our latest podcast on Mike Ashley, and as always, hit subscribe if you enjoyed this.